Okay. Initially, I was with this. I mean, I remember a friend of mine saying how much he hated and had problems with his mother because she wouldn't let him smoke weed, and she was the worst person in the world, and yada yada yada. And that's what it sounded like. He disparagingly talked about his father, and his mother was mad, and she ran his life. And it was just some guy going off about his parents.
He was stoned.
They're all controlling me. I can't stand them. They're terrible people. I'm gonna kill them all. Blah blah blah. But when he starts talking about sedating them, giving them sleeping pills, shooting them, setting fire to the farmhouse, you're taking it a bit far.
Yeah.
Mugford alleged he had discussed cycling along the back roads to the house, entering through the kitchen window because the catch was broken, and leaving via a different window that had latched when it was shut from the outside. A telephone call would be made from Whitehouse Farm to his home in Goldhanger because the last phone call made would be recorded. Bamber claimed to have killed rats with his bare hands to test whether he was able to kill, but he said it had taught him that he would not be able to kill his family, although he allegedly continued to talk about doing so. So, you shivered. Now, did you shiver because you don't like rats? And you don't like tails? Or did you shiver because he killed with his bare hands? Because this is a total different discussion.
The killing with the bare hands.
Go on.
Yeah, I don't like rats and towels, but needs must. I can see them run around.
This is a totally different discussion because I remember doing a psychological. It wasn't an evaluation; it was a test. Stuff we did in college and that when we did psychology about sort of them making to being able to kill.
I couldn't kill anything.
Okay.
With my bare hands.
Right.
I don't think I could kill anything.
Right.
I would really struggle with that. I don't like even thinking about it.
Okay.
I know everyone's different, and I think you live different walks of life and countries and farmers and.
Oh yeah.
We have totally different views on things.
Oh god, yeah. Take Malona. I'm pretty sure she could go out in the garden, kill something, skin it, tuck it, eat it, no drama whatsoever, and just be like, hey, it's food. She'd probably still be like, this is God's meal or whatever if she wanted to be sort of later on. I know she particularly wouldn't, but no. I know some people would be afterwards and be absolutely fine with it.
I just couldn't do it.
Okay.
You?
If I had to survive, if my only option was to, kill, gut a hog and, go through it that way, then yeah, I could. If I had to. So that's not the sort of the issue. But the mentality is different between shooting somebody and strangling somebody, because one you have to do with your hands, and the other one is you can blame it on the weapon. Evil Pudding again was talking about one of the fellas that kept saying things like, "Oh yes, I slapped her with my hand that contained the knife. I slapped her in the throat." Yeah, what you mean, scumbag, is you cut her throat. You didn't slap her in the throat with a knife that happened to have your hand attached to it. No, you cut her throat. And they explained it in that way because the guy couldn't accept that that's what he'd done to this person, or he didn't want to admit.
Do the time for his crime?
Yeah, or maybe even that. But in which case you wouldn't put it across like that. You'd come up with something a lot better. Even if you said she fell on the knife, you wouldn't be, I slapped her in the throat with a knife. Back to the case. Mugford said she spent the weekend before the murders with Bamber in his cottage in Goldhanger, where he had dyed his hair black. She had seen his mother's bicycle there. She said the prosecution later alleged that he had used this bicycle to cycle between his cottage and Whitehouse Farm on the night of the murders to avoid being seen in his car on the road. Mugford told police that Bamber had telephoned her at 9:50 p.m. on the 6th of August to say he had been thinking about the crime all day, and was pissed off, and it was tonight or never. A few hours later, at between 3 and 3:30 a.m. on the 7th of August, Mugford said he phoned her again to say everything is going well. Something is wrong at the farm. I haven't had any sleep all night. Bye, honey. I love you lots. Her flatmate's evidence suggested that call had come through close to 3 a.m. Bamber called her later in the morning to tell heard that Sheila had gone mad and that a police car was coming to pick her up. When she arrived with the police at Bamber's cottage, she said he'd pulled her to one side and said, "I should have been an actor."
So later on the evening, on the 7th of August, Mugford asked Bamber whether he had done it. He said no, but that a friend of his had, whom he named. The man was a plumber the family had used in the past. Bamber allegedly said he had told his friend how he could enter and leave the farmhouse undetected, and that one of his instructions had been for the friend to telephone him from one of the phones in the farmhouse that had a memory redial facility, so that if the police did check, that he would have an alibi. Everything had gone as planned, he said, except that Neville had put up a fight, and that the friend had become angry and shot him 7 times. The friend had allegedly told Sheila to lie down and shoot herself last, Bamber said. The friend then placed the Bible on her chest, so she appeared to have killed herself in a religious frenzy. The children were shot in their sleep, he said. Mugford said Bamber claimed to have paid the friend £2,000.
£2,000.
It's not worth absolutely any money in the world that you could pay me.
I got £1,556.54p from my mother's death from the Criminal Compensation Board. I tell you what, I'll remember that number for the rest of my life. That money meant fuck all. And you can't put a price on a child.
You cannot. Money is all this Jeremy seems to care about.
Mm-hmm.
It's completely about the money from the business. He wants this life. He wants his playboy lifestyle. He wants drugs around him. And he doesn't have his own
know
means
what I'm hearing in my head?
to do that.
Nickelback, Rockstar.
I don't know.
I
can't
be
remember.
Great like Elvis without the tassels.
Oh.
He
Carry on.
absolutely everything.
But yeah,
and he's just willing to do anything to get it.
Yeah, literally.
Even to the point of he's going to change his hair and yada yada yada.
And he's now dragged somebody else into the situation. So yeah, it's not on. So there's a letter dated the 26th of September 1985 from the Assistant Director of Public Prosecutions, who prepared the case against Bamber, suggests that Mugford not to be prosecuted for the burglary, the cheque fraud, and for further offence of selling cannabis. Mugford subsequently testified against Bamber during this trial in October 1986. The judge told the jury that they could convict Bamber on Mugford's testimony alone. Immediately after the verdict was announced, Mugford sold her story to the News of the World for £25,000.
I was just about to say, doesn't it sound
£78,000 of it would have been in 2016.
Yeah, whatever. Money aside, doesn't it sound a little bit suspicious then? Oh, you're going to let me off of 3 crimes, not major crimes, but 3 crimes, and it's what could have been assisting in a murder. Okay. I don't know how many murders it needs to be before it's considered a mass murder, but more than one.
It's more than one, as far as I'm concerned. You're a serial killer if you can kill more than one.
They all have different categories. Oh my god, you should hear some of the people that they explain it. There's this one and this one and this one based on what they're carrying, where they've been, how many they've killed, and so on and so forth. But we know what he's done, and yeah.
Well, as a result of Mugford's statement, Bamber was arrested on the 8th of September 1985, as was the friend Mugford said he implicated, although the latter had a solid alibi and was released.
Yeah, because it wasn't him. But was it Bamber then?
Bamber told police Mugford was lying because he had jilted her. He said he loved his parents and his sisters, and denied that they had kept him short of money. He claimed the only reason he had broken into the caravan site with Mugford was to prove the security was poor. He further claimed he had occasionally gained entry to the farmhouse through the downstairs window and had used a knife to move the catches from the outside. He also claimed that he had seen his parents' wills and that they had left the estate to be shared between him and Sheila.
See, there's no crime against being an arsehole. There is no crime against getting into his own property, breaking into his own property. Hell, I did that with my aunts. She came home, I was sat in the living room watching TV. I was living there. She said, "How'd you get in?" I said, "Well, you ain't give me a key. I busted in through the window." No crime. Does that make sense? There's no crime against.
Why do you think she didn't give you a key?
Well, she did after that because, she knew I was going to get in anyway. She was all right. She was sound. But my point is, yeah, okay, you could argue weird's a crime, but no crime against wanting money. No crime against wanting the estate. No crime against, oh, I want this Porsche, or my dad's a dickhead, or whatever it might be. But
Well, as for the rifle, he told the police that the gun was used mostly with the silencer off because it was otherwise not fit in its case. Charged on the 9th of September with breaking into OC, I'm not sure how you pronounce it.
I pronounce it Osea.
Whichever way you like
It's
to
the
pronounce
Osea
it.
caravan site.
OC Bay caravan site, apparently, on the 25th of March 1985 and stealing £980. Bamber was released on bail on the 13th of September, after which he went on holiday to Saint-Tropez with a friend.
So he wasn't even convicted of the murders.
Not at that point, I don't believe.
What was the point of? Because they weren't going to get any more evidence out of him because they fucking burnt it.
Well, shortly before this, he tried to sell his life story and the nude photographs of Sheila to the Sun newspaper for £20,000. Before leaving England, Bamber said that he returned to the farmhouse, gaining entry by the downstairs bathroom window. He claimed he did this because he had left his keys in London and needed the papers from the house for the trip to France. He entered through the window rather than borrow keys from the farm housekeeper who lived nearby. When he returned to England on the 29th of September, Bamber was arrested at Dover and charged with the murders.
There is literally tons of information available online that we have not covered, and this one's nearly 2 hours. There's a documentary and hundreds of websites and loads more material. There is literally several more pages just on the case alone, and the defence, the appeals, processes and the campaign and everything else that goes along with it. So have a look and make your own decisions. We are going to finish up now, and I'll let Ellen finish her first major cast.
So on the 28th of October, after deliberating for more than 9 hours, the jury found Bamber, this is Jeremy Bamber, guilty by majority of 10-2, the minimum required for conviction, sentencing him to 5 life terms with a recommendation that he serve a minimum of 25 years. The judge told him, "Your conduct in planning and carrying out the killing of 5 members of your family was evil, almost beyond belief." In December 1994, Home Secretary Michael Howard told Bamber that he would remain in prison for the rest of his life, following a decision in 1988 by the Home Secretary of the day, Douglas Hurd.
Yeah.
Life sentences isn't enough. He's still getting to live in prison. No amount of life sentences and life terms in prison is going to change the fact that those 2 little boys, a young lady and his parents, have lost their life because of his jealous rage and absolute greed of money.
I have read and listened to so much when it comes to the mentality of killers, and even then, like you said, the rage, and yeah, you're right, yeah, anger plays a part in it, but again, anything that these defence guys can use my father got diminished responsibility due to anger-related issues.